You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We come your way Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And this is a different kind of program. If this is your first time listening, it has a different kind of energy because we don't talk about politics. We don't talk about the problems of the world. We talk about you, and we give you an opportunity to participate and to have some positive conversations that you can get some breakthroughs just by listening and sometimes even engaging in the conversation. And that's one of the main things that we want you to do. And I want to also say that I want to talk to you about something of a personal nature. And as I was thinking and reflecting on today's show, today I want you to call in and share some thoughts on life lessons of coping with several things. Coping with setbacks, coping with loss, coping with disappointment, and coping with negativity. I was thinking about a friend that I'm going to celebrate her birthday, and she's one of the most beautiful people. Have you ever met two people that have been married and they're as different as day and night? Now, she is a very pleasant, beautiful person, and she's always been that way. Her husband has since died, but you're talking about negative. You would look at them and say, how did they ever get together? How did that happen? And because her personality is just totally opposite. She's sweet. She a mild-mannered person, always beautiful smile. He was a grumpy person, always very toxic, very negative, argumentative, did not want to go to family functions. You would wonder how. It's like oil and water. How did these two people get together? And the thing that was extraordinary, it didn't seem to bother her. I would have been angry had she died first. In fact, I felt, and I'm sure her family felt, that when he died, they should have buried him face down in case he woke up. It starts gradually, you can start going deeper. Okay, this guy was just a mean guy. He just mean. You know, there's some people who make it their business to be mean. But Mrs. Williams, what a pleasant person. She outlived him, thank God. And she never internalized it. She never took it in. She had ways of coping with this negative, toxic person that drove everybody else crazy, but he didn't drive her crazy. Oh, no. She did not allow herself to take that in. How do you deal with it? Some people are good at that. Some people aren't. I'm not one. I just can't deal with it. I can't handle it. I have to get them out my space. I've got to get from around them. How do you deal with toxic people? Because sometimes you just can't pick up and go. Sometimes it might be a parent, a relative, or a child. You just have to find ways in which you can cope with it. How do you do that? What are the ways that you cope with toxic people? Want to know that? Please call and share your story about the person and how you deal with that and how you don't allow yourself to take that on, to internalize that. But there are some people, the majority of people, they don't have the skill set to deal with it effectively. They said the average woman in an unfulfilling, toxic, negative relationship usually gain over 50 pounds. That many women who are obese, not only because of what they eat, but because of what's eating them. And men, people who find themselves in toxic, negative, energy-draining relationships, and it shows up in body illnesses. It shows up in gaining a lot of weight and gray hair and hair falling out and all types of other negative physical consequences. Coping with negative, toxic people. Handling depression. Sometimes you can be depressed and don't even know it. Sometimes I used to suffer from anxieties. Anxiety attacks. I would be in a hotel room and all of a sudden out of nowhere seemed like my mind was closing in on me and I had to get out of the room, get out of the hotel. Couldn't even take the elevator down. It would be too small and I would fly down a flight of steps and run out of the hotel room. It took me some time to get through that. It was, and I didn't even know what triggered it. I had not a clue as to what was causing that for me, but through meditation and prayer, and I used to call friends who had to be on standby, that they had to talk me through it, and breathing deeply in order to deal with that. And that music and scripture and reading and exercise, eventually, I haven't had one in quite some time. Handling disappointments, handling attacks on your body. The other day I had an overwhelming feeling of grief, and I had to read some stuff. I had to play some music. I had to engage in some positive conversation. I had some certain friends that can talk to me and talk me through it. But it just seemed like I wasn't sure what was going on with me. Was it because of the fact that I've lost 3 friends in a very close time? I don't know. Is it because of the physical challenge that I'm overcoming? I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't put my hand on it. But out of nowhere, some tears start coming. Has that ever happened to you? And so today we're going to talk about coping with loss, coping with disappointment, coping with negative people or negative circumstances. What are the things that you do? Let me share with you one of the things that's important for me and what I do. Music is very important to me. I love music, and there's certain songs that I can play that can lift my spirits. When I get ready to speak, one of the songs I play is the theme from Rocky. I can't tell you the number of speeding tickets I've gotten listening to Rocky while I'm driving. I don't do this in the car anymore, because in California, not only will they stop you and give you a ticket, but when you don't have the complexion of connection, you might get shot too. So I don't do that. I drive 5 miles below the speed limit. Okay. Behave, all right? And then I read scripture, and I read positive things, and I have some positive friends that I talk to, and I have some crazy, funny people that will distract my mind, that will help me to get my mind in a different kind of place. So I want to hear from you, and the number to call is 888-539-2980. Once you think about it, and I want to know, how do you handle it? How do you handle being in a negative situation? It might be a toxic place. Just going to work. I used to go to a place, I liked them, they didn't like me, and sometimes my friends would have to come out to the car and say, "Come on, Les." I said, "You got to open up the car door for me." They had to drag me in. I said, "I don't want to go today." It was just tough. How do you deal with that? That's what we're talking about. 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. My name is Les Brown. We're talking about life lessons, coping skills, dealing with loss, negative people and situations. The number to call, once again, is 888-539-2980. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.